Mrderer. It was a winter night. By 10 o'clock, the streets had closed, and there was silence in the alleys. The old widow mother, while serving a plate of food in front of her young son Dharmveer, said, "Where do you stay out this late, son? The food gets cold just sitting there. Everyone around has gone to sleep. There's not enough firewood to keep me sitting here warming myself this late." Dharmveer, a well-built, handsome young man, pulling the plate towards him, said, "It's not even 10 yet, mother. If the lifeless men around here go to sleep as soon as it gets dark, what can anyone do? In Europe, people roam around until 12 or 1 at night. One should learn from them how to enjoy life. No one even sleeps before 1 o'clock." The mother asked, "Then they must wake up by 8 or 10 in the morning too?" Dharmveer, sidestepping her question, said, "No, they get up by 6 in the morning. We are too accustomed to sleeping a lot. From 10 to 6 is 8 hours. If a man sleeps 8 hours out of 24, when will he work? It's completely wrong that a man should sleep for 8 hours. The less one sleeps, the better. Our association has included a rule that members should not sleep for more than 3 hours." The mother had grown tired of hearing about this association. Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't wear this, don't wear that, don't marry, don't have a wedding, don't take a job, don't work as a servant. What is this association trying to do? Turn people into ascetics? Only an ascetic could make such sacrifices. Even among ascetics, most are slaves to their senses, ascetics in name only. Now they've restricted sleep as well. The 3-month wandering period has just ended. Who knows where they wander around? Now they'll eat at midnight. Or who knows, they might skip dinner altogether. With a tone of complaint, she said, "That's why you've become so gaunt that every bone in your body can be counted if one wishes. After all, do the people in your association do any work, or do they only impose restrictions on others?" Dharmveer replied, "Whatever work you do, we do the same. Your goal is to serve the nation. Our goal is also to serve the nation." The old widow had been wholeheartedly involved in the freedom struggle. 10 years ago, her husband had been punished for delivering a seditious speech. His health deteriorated in jail, and he passed away in prison. Since then, the widow had dedicated herself with sincerity and dedication to national service. In the beginning, her young son had also joined the volunteers. But for the past 5 months, he had joined this new association, and he was considered one of its passionate workers. The mother asked in a doubtful tone, "Does your association have an office?" "Yes, it does." "How many members are there?" "For now, there are only 50 members. But what 25 men can do, even your 25,000 can't." "Look, mother, don't tell anyone, or the first danger will come to my life. I don't believe that picketing and processions will get us freedom. That's just a clear admission of weakness and helplessness. Nations don't gain independence by hoisting flags and singing songs. The people here don't use their brains." One man said, "We'll gain independence this way," and everyone blindly followed him. That man is misguided and is leading others astray too. These people may be content with the thought that they're getting closer to freedom, but to me, this way of working seems like child's play. Just like how children are given toys and sweets when they cry and fuss, these people will get the same. We'll only get the real thing when we're ready to pay its price." The mother said, "Haven't we already paid that price? Didn't our millions of men go to jail? Didn't we endure beatings? Didn't we let our properties be seized?" Dharmveer replied, "What loss did the British suffer from all that? They will only leave India when they are convinced that they can no longer stay here even for a moment. If 1,000 British are killed in India today, we'll gain freedom today itself. That's how Russia became free, and that's how Ireland became free. India will also become free in the same way. There is no other method. We have to eliminate them. The fear caused by killing one white officer is more than what 1,000 processions can do." The mother trembled from head to toe. She had been a widow for 10 years now. This son was the only support in her life. She had nurtured him with love, working hard to get through the difficult days. She had been happy with the thought that he would earn a little money, a daughter-in-law would come to the house, and she would get a morsel to eat and rest. She had built a little raft out of these thin straws of hope, and she was crossing the river of life on that raft. Now that raft seemed to her to be tossing in the waves. She felt as though the raft was sinking in the river. Placing her hand on her chest, she said, "Son, what are you saying? Do you really think that killing the British will give us freedom? We are not enemies of the British. We are enemies of this system of government. If this system were in the hands of our own people, and much of it already is, we would oppose it just the same. No foreign nation ruled in Russia, yet the people there overthrew their government because the Tsar didn't care for his people. The rich lived comfortably, and the poor were crushed. You know all this better than I do. The same is happening here. The country's wealth is being siphoned off in one way or another, and we are getting poorer. We want to change this unjust rule. I beg you, son, leave this association. Don't jump into the fire for no reason. I don't want to see the day when you are brought to court for murder." Dharamveer wasn't moved by her plea. He said, "There's no need to worry. We've taken enough precautions regarding this. Getting caught would be foolish. We're working in such a way that no one will be arrested." A look of embarrassment replaced the fear on the mother's face. She said, "That's even worse. The innocent will be punished while the murderer remains free. That's a shameful act. I consider it a cowardly move. Killing someone in secret is treachery, but letting innocent people be trapped in your place is betrayal of the nation. The blood of those innocents will also be on the murderer's head." Dharamveer, enjoying his mother's distress, said, "Mother, you don't understand these things. You keep organizing your dharnas and processions, and let us do what we do. Sin and virtue, right and wrong, these are meaningless words. What you consider a sin, I see as virtue. How can I explain to you that these are relative terms? You've read the Bhagavad Gita, haven't you? Lord Krishna clearly said, I am the one who kills, and I am the one who gives life. Man can neither kill nor give life. So where is your sin? Why should I feel ashamed that someone else is declared guilty in my place? This is not a personal fight, it's a war against the collective power of England. Whether I die or someone else dies in my place, it makes no difference. The person who can serve the nation better has more right to live." The mother stared at her son in amazement. Arguing with him was pointless. She couldn't convince him with her arguments. Dharamveer finished his meal and left, but she remained seated as if paralyzed. She thought, could it be that he has already killed someone? Or is he going to kill someone? The thought sent shivers through her body. Like most people, the very idea of murder and bloodshed filled her with revulsion. Her own son committing murder, what could be more shameful, dishonorable, and despicable to her? She revered the kind of national service that was based on sacrifice, morality, truth, and sincerity. In her eyes, a true servant of the nation was someone who wouldn't even hurt the heart of the lowest person but would happily sacrifice himself if needed. Non-violence was the most important part of her moral beliefs. If Dharamveer had taken a bullet in defense of the poor, she would have wept, but she would have held her head high. She would have been deeply grieved, perhaps so much so that it would have cost her life, but that grief would have been mingled with pride. However, the thought of him committing murder, this was a monstrous sin, a stain. The question before her now was how to stop her son. She would never let it reach the point where her son was caught for murder. She couldn't bear the thought of innocent people being punished for his crime. She was bewildered, wondering where this madness had come from in her son. She sat down to eat, but the food stuck in her throat. It felt as though some cruel hand was snatching Dharamveer from her arms. She wanted to push that hand away. She couldn't let her beloved son out of her sight even for a moment. She would stick to him like a shadow. Who could dare snatch him from her arms? Dharamveer used to sleep in the outer room. The mother felt as though he might have left. She immediately went to his room. A lamp was burning on a stand in front of Dharamveer. He had fallen asleep while reading a book, which lay open on his chest. The mother sat there like an orphan, praying with deep sincerity and humility to God, pleading for her son's change of heart. His face still showed the same innocence and gentleness it had 20 years ago. There was no trace of harshness or cruelty. For a moment, the mother's strict principles were hidden beneath the cloak of motherly love. She could see the heartfelt emotions in her son's heart. How much passion for service, how much pain for the nation, and how much sympathy for the suffering he had. If only he had the wisdom, the slow pace, and patience of an old person, how great that would be. Who can measure the longing and burning desire of someone ready to sacrifice something as dear as their own life? If only this passion and pain could be channeled away from violence, the progress of awakening would have been so much faster. Dharamveer was startled by the sound of his mother's movement and, adjusting his book, said, "When did you come, mother? I don't even know when I fell asleep." The mother moved the lamp away and said, "Don't sleep with the lamp near the bed. Sometimes accidents happen. Will you keep reading all night? It's already midnight, go to sleep peacefully. I'll sleep here with you. I don't know why, but I feel afraid inside." Dharamveer said, "Then let me bring another cot here." "No, I'll lie down here on the floor." "Come on, mother, I'll sleep on the bed while you stay on the floor." "You get on the bed." "No way, I sleep on the bed, and you lie on the floor?" "That's not happening. I'll bring another cot. Otherwise, I'll sleep inside with you. Why are you afraid today?" "Your words scared me. Why don't you include me in your association too?" Dharamveer didn't reply. He picked up his bedding and cot and went to the inner room. The mother walked ahead of him, holding the lamp to light the way. After placing the cot in the room and lying down, Dharamveer said, "If you joined my association, mother, what more could I ask for? Poor fellows get sick from eating half-baked bread. They would finally get good food. Then there are so many things that an elderly woman could do more easily than a young man, like finding clues in a case or spreading our ideas among women." "But you were joking." The mother replied seriously, "No son, I'm not joking. I'm speaking from my heart. You can't imagine how tender a mother's heart is. I can't sit at home while you're in such danger. When I didn't know, that was one thing. But now that I do know these things, I can't stay apart from you. I will always be by your side, and if the time comes, I will sacrifice myself before you. You'll see me dying in front of you, and for me, that will be the greatest happiness. Don't think that I'll get scared at crucial moments or scream and shout. Never. Even in the face of the toughest dangers, you won't hear a single scream from me. Even a cow becomes a lioness to protect her calf." Dharamveer, overwhelmed with devotion, kissed his mother's feet. Never had she seemed so worthy of respect and affection in his eyes. The very next day, the opportunity for a test presented itself. The old woman spent these 2 days practicing shooting a revolver. The woman who used to cover her ears at the sound of firecrackers, who was a goddess of non-violence and righteousness, was now firing a revolver with such bravery and precision that even the young men of the association were astonished. A death warrant was issued in the name of the highest police officer, and this task was assigned to Dharamveer. When they both returned home, the mother asked, "Son, this officer didn't do anything particularly wrong. Why did the association choose him?" Dharamveer, smiling at his mother's simplicity, said, "Do you think our constables, sub-inspectors, and superintendents do what they do willingly? These people are responsible for all the oppression. And for us, it's enough that he's a crucial part of the machine that is ruthlessly destroying our nation. In a war, personal matters don't count. Just being on the opposing side is the greatest crime." The mother fell silent. After a moment, she spoke cautiously, "Son, I've never asked you for anything. Now, I have one request, will you fulfill it?" Dharamveer said, "There's no need to ask, mother. You know I can never refuse any of your commands." The mother replied, "Yes, son, I know. That's why I have the courage to ask this of you. I want you to leave this association. Look, your old mother is folding her hands and begging you." And she stood before him like a beggar, her hands joined. Dharamveer laughed loudly and said, "Mother, that's a ridiculous request. Do you know what will happen if I leave the association? I won't return alive. Even if I run away, my life won't be safe. Every member of the association will thirst for my blood, and I'll be their target. You gave me this life, and I can offer it at your feet. But Bharat Mata gave life to both you and me, and her claim is the greatest. If the moment ever comes when I have to kill you in service to Bharat Mata, I won't shy away from that unpleasant duty. My eyes will shed tears, but my sword will be at your neck. In our dharma, nothing stands above the nation. So, there's no question of leaving the association. If you are afraid, don't come with me. I'll make an excuse and take another comrade with me. If your heart is weak, tell me now. The mother, strengthening her resolve, said, I only said it thinking of you, brother, otherwise, why would I be afraid? The decision had been made to complete the task under the cover of night. The target was to be killed when he returned from the club late at night, and his life's flame would be extinguished right there. Dharamveer had inspected the location by noon and chosen the precise spot where he would take his aim. Near the Sahib's bungalow was a small thicket of kareel and karanda bushes. That would be his hiding spot. To the left of the bushes was low ground, with guava and berry orchards providing a good escape route. The Sahib's time to leave for the club was between 7 and 8, and his return time was around 11. These timings had been confirmed. Dharamveer planned to go and hide in the karonda bushes by 9. There was a turn on the road there. At the turn, the motorcar's speed would slow down a bit, and that would be the perfect time to take the shot with the revolver. As the day passed, the old mother's heart withered more and more with fear. But Dharamveer's behavior remained completely unchanged. He got up at his usual time, ate breakfast, performed his evening prayers, and, as on other days, spent some time reading. A few friends came over. He played 2 or 3 games of chess with them. He ate his meal with calm, even eating a bit more than usual. Then he lay down to rest, as if he had no worries at all. The mother, on the other hand, was in turmoil. Eating or drinking wasn't even a consideration. She couldn't even sit still. Neighboring women came by as usual, but she didn't speak to anyone. She wandered around like a madwoman, as if a mouse was looking for a hole to escape a cat. It felt like a mountain was falling on her head. There was no escape, no place to run to. The worn-out philosophical thoughts that had once given her solace, fate, reincarnation, God's will, seemed meaningless in the face of this terrible calamity. Armor and helmets can protect from arrows and bullets, but the mountain would crush them all. Her mind and heart felt useless. If any feeling remained, it was fear. But by evening, a strange calm settled over her heart. A kind of strength was born within her, a strength that one might call the power of helplessness. The bird had fluttered as long as there was hope of escape. Now, it had resigned itself to the hunter's net and the butcher's knife. The ultimate limit of fear is courage. She called out, Son, come and eat something. Dharamveer came inside. Throughout the day, not a word had been exchanged between the mother and son. Now, as the mother looked at Dharamveer, his face had fallen. The calm with which he had concealed his inner restlessness throughout the day, which had manifested in his distracted appearance, had melted away as the danger drew nearer, just as a child might clap in delight upon seeing a bear from afar but scream in terror when it approaches. They both looked at each other. Both began to cry. The mother's heart filled with joy. Wiping away Dharamveer's tears with her scarf, she said, Come, son, let's run away from here. Dharamveer stood lost in thought. The mother spoke again, There's no need to tell anyone. Let's leave this place without anyone knowing. There is still time. There are many other ways to serve the nation. Dharamveer, as if waking from sleep, said, That's not possible, mother. Duty is duty, it must be fulfilled whether with tears or with laughter. But yes, the thought of the outcome does scare me. Maybe the shot will miss, and I'll get arrested, or perhaps I'll become the target of his bullet. But whatever happens, happens. Even if I die, my name will remain. After a brief pause, he added, I don't feel like eating right now, mother. It's time to get ready. If you don't want to come, then don't, I'll go alone. The mother, with a voice full of complaint, said, It's not that I value my life so much, son. My life is you. I live by seeing you. Without you, life and death are the same to me. In fact, death is better than life without you. Dharamveer didn't respond. Both of them busied themselves with their preparations. What preparations did the mother have? She offered a prayer to God, took the revolver, and was ready to leave. Dharamveer had to write in his diary. As he sat down to write, a sea of emotions welled up within him. This surge, this spontaneous outpouring of thoughts, was something new to him. It was as if a spring had opened up in his heart. The theme of his thoughts was immortality. Man is eternal, he is immortal. He began with a painful farewell. Farewell, oh, joys of the world, farewell. Oh, blossoms of life, farewell. Oh, sweet wounds, farewell. Countrymen, pray to God for this wounded and unfortunate servant of yours. Life is a precious thing, I have realized. Oh, the same painful pricks, the same desires and disappointments that had made life bitter are, at this moment, life's greatest treasures. This golden shower of morning rays, these colorful evening breezes, these streets and alleys, these walls and doors, will I ever see them again? Life is made of bonds. Those bonds are breaking one by one. The threads of life are unraveling. Oh, freedom of the heart. Come, let me bury you in the grave of despair. My only prayer to God is that my countrymen may prosper, and my country may flourish. It doesn't matter who I am, or what I am, but the garden will never be empty of nightingales. My only request to my brothers is that when you sing the songs of freedom, please remember this poor soul and pray for his well-being. After closing the diary, he took a deep breath and stood up. He dressed, placed the revolver in his pocket, and said, "It's time now, mother." The mother didn't respond. Who cared about the house? Everything lay where it was, even the lamp remained burning. Both left the house in silence, one walking with the steps of a man filled with purpose, the other burdened by worry, sorrow, and helplessness. On the way, no words were exchanged. Both were as firm, silent, and ready as if following a script written by fate, one inspired by the powerful and pure force of noble action, the other trembling with pain, emotion, and prayer. Upon reaching the thicket, they sat quietly. About half an hour later, the Sahib's motor car appeared. Dharamveer watched carefully. The car's speed slowed down. The Sahib and his wife were inside. The shot was perfectly aligned. Dharamveer took out the revolver from his pocket. His mother grabbed his hand, and the car passed by. Dharamveer said, "What have you done, mother? Such a golden opportunity won't come again." His mother replied, "There was a lady in the car. What if the bullet had hit her? So what? In our dharma, there's no difference between a snake, a female snake, and a snake's offspring." With disgust in her voice, the mother said, "Then your dharma is the dharma of wild animals and savages, who don't even follow the basic principles of war. Women are considered innocent in every religion. Even savages honor them. I won't let him go when he comes back. As long as I live, you will not raise your hand against a woman. I am not bound by your restrictions in this matter." The mother didn't reply. Her maternal love shattered into pieces by this cowardly talk. Barely 20 minutes passed before they saw the car returning from the other direction. Dharamveer looked at the car intently and, springing to his feet, said, "Look, mother, this time the Sahib is alone. Come, take aim with me." The mother lunged forward, grabbed Dharamveer's hand, and with all her strength, began to wrestle the revolver from him like a madwoman. Dharamveer shoved her away and took a step forward to aim. Within a second, the mother rose. At that moment, the gun went off. The car drove on, but the mother was writhing on the ground. Dharamveer threw down the revolver and rushed to his mother, panicking. "Mother, what happened?" Then, suddenly, the tragic reality of the situation struck him. He had killed his beloved mother. All the hardness, the harshness, the heat in his nature vanished. Overcome with a trembling sadness, he knelt down, looking at his mother's face covered in tears of shame and sorrow, and said, "What have I done, mother? Why won't you say something? How did this happen? In the darkness, I couldn't see anything. Where did the bullet hit? Tell me something. Oh, it was written that I, this wretched one, would be your killer. The one you raised in your lap has killed you. Whom do I call for? There's no one in sight." With a faint, fading voice, the mother said, "My life is fulfilled, son. You will carry my ashes. I am dying in your arms. The bullet hit my chest. As soon as you fired, I stepped in front of you. I can't speak much more. May God bless you. This is my only prayer." What else could I do, son? My honor was in your hands. I'm leaving now. A moment later, in the cold, dark silence, Dharmveer carried his beloved mother's dying body in his arms back home, rubbing his tear-filled eyes against her cold feet, feeling the piercing pain of emotional and spiritual sorrow deep within. Story ended. How did you like it? Please comment, like, or dislike. Share with your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you.